Excellent. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. We will do introductions. I'll start with the voting members, and I'll call you out, and you can introduce yourself. Erica?
Erica Goodman, voting member.
Aaron?
Voting member.
Dave?
Dave Brass, voting member, vice chair.
And I am Dale Stein, chair. Brian, over to you.
Okay, we'll start with advisory members. Who's on Flag and Market?
Tim Sweeney's here.
Morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
EDEA. Chad, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. I had to remember to unmute myself. So, good morning.
All right. Well,
Morning.
good morning. Hey, who's on from CALS? Cornell University CALS. Okay. How about Cornell Cooperative Extension? Okay. DEC?
Hi, this is Julie Berlinski, Division of Water.
Good morning,
Hi.
Julie. Who else we have? Team? Good morning, team.
Morning.
Oh, are we going through
Anyone
DEC? Sarah Lutesla's
We
on.
are. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
We have the trio. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, Department of Health.
Paul Kasmarczyk with the Drinking Water Program.
Morgan Tarbo.
Good morning, Paul.
Oops,
I'm sorry.
Morgan Tarbo, Drinking Water Program. Stay healthy.
Good morning, Morgan.
Morning.
Did I hear somebody else from DOH? Okay, Department of State.
Good morning. This is Stephanie Wojtowicz with the Local Waterfront Revitalization Program.
Good morning, Stephanie. Thank you for joining. How about SUNY ESF?
Morning, this is Steve Shaw.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
NRCS?
Good morning, everyone. Blake Clever, State Conservation NRCS, along with Paula Bagley, the State Con engineer.
Wonderful.
Mike.
Thank you both for joining us today. Okay, anybody on from NYACD? Okay. Let's see, we'll go to staff now. Victor? Victor, you with us? I saw Victor. He's probably still searching for the mute button. Okay.
Just a reminder too for everybody, we may have a double mute. So if you mute your phone line, the system also mutes you automatically. So make sure that both your phone and the WebEx are unmuted.
Thank you for that, Bethany.
Can you hear me now?
There he is.
How you doing?
Hello,
Nick
Victor.
Giacomo, State Committee, Field Staff for Western New York. Sorry, I'm on a foreign computer today.
Oh, no worries. PJ. All right. I believe PJ had a conflict or two. Ryan. Same. I believe he's got a competing board meeting. Ron Bush.
Good morning. CNMP specialist with the State Committee.
Good morning, Ron. Brendan.
Hi, good morning. Brendan Jordan, also CNMP specialist with the State Committee.
Good morning. Greg.
Good morning, everybody. This is Greg Albrecht, AIM-based program coordinator and CNMP specialist, also with the State Committee.
Good morning, Greg. Scott.
Morning, everyone. Scott Fickbaum, Region 3, AEA, State Committee.
Good morning, Scott. Jennifer.
Good morning, Jennifer Clifford, Climate Resilient Farming Program Manager.
Good morning, Jennifer. Ben.
Good morning, Ben Luskin, Region 5 AEA and State Aid to Districts Program Manager.
Morning, Ben. Bethany.
Good morning, everybody. This is Bethany Bizdu, Ag Non-Point Source Program Manager.
Morning, Bethany. Jason.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Jason Cocaine, the State Committee, Data Analyst.
Morning, Jason. Tim.
Good morning.
Yep, good morning. This is Tim Clark. I'm the engineer for the committee.
Good morning, Tim. Lauren.
Good morning, Ms. Lauren Pazorski. I'm the EBM Program Manager for the State Committee.
Morning, Lauren. Am I missing anybody else? Staff. Okay. Back over to you, Dale.
Ryan. Districts. Any districts on hand that would like to identify themselves, please?
Corey
Morning,
Humphrey, Suffolk Soil and Water. Morning.
Morning.
Seneca County Soil and Water.
Morning, Ontario Soil and Water.
Morning.
Morning, it's Amanda, Cortland County Soil and Water.
Amanda.
Good morning, this is Brad from Sea Soil and Water.
Morning.
Hi, it's Alice from Essex.
Morning.
Morning, this is
Good
Tara
morning.
Schneider-Moran from Nassau County Soil and Water.
Morning.
Good morning, Karina from Washington County.
Morning.
Good morning, it's Susan from Albany County.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning, Eric Renfro, Onondaga County Soil and Water.
Morning. Any other districts?
David Ganem, Nassau County Soil and Water.
Morning.
This is Steve Lorraine of Madison County Soil and Water.
Morning.
Joel DuBois, Green County Soil and Water.
Good morning. Anyone else? Boy, great turnout. Now, anyone from the public on that would like to identify themselves? All right, welcome everyone. We'll move on to review and approve minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, changes, any? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I will call out voting members by name for vote. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? You hear me, Dave? Darren?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Dave has issues with bandwidth at times where he's located. He doesn't always receive. Approved. Correspondence, Brian.
Okay, thank you. I actually do not have any official correspondence today. So that was an easy one.
Excellent. Okay, we'll move on then to Jason and Bethany.
Okay, so what I have pulled up here is our Ag Non-Point Source dashboard, and I will let you, Jason, go over this with the group.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so today in the Ag Non-Point Source Program database, there are 813 completed contracts totaling $129,133,000. That's 120 contracts completed in the past 5 rounds. We have 176 active contracts totaling $63,397,000. One contract in round 19 closed out this month, and there's still one remaining in round 20 to be closed. One contract is in the partial closeout status for $514,614. 35 contracts have been canceled through the history of the program, and currently there are 0 contracts pending.
I just want to thank you, Jason, for the festive status report. It looks amazing.
No problem.
I think he's bored at home.
Anything but.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Any other questions on program status? Okay. So I think we'll move on to the Ag non-point source amendment request. Once again, this month we have a number of time extension requests that were submitted. And what you should be seeing on the screen here is our summary report of all the extension requests. I will go through and indicate, the district and what they are requesting for a time extension, and we'll refer to the summary report on the screen for their justification. So our first amendment request comes from Genesee County in Region 1. They are requesting a time extension for a round 22 contract that currently expires on December 31st of this year. They are looking to extend the contract for 1 year to December 31st of 2020. And the reason for the request is cited here on the summary report. This amendment has been reviewed by Victor DiGiacomo, and he also supports this request, but refers to the state committee.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Need a motion, please? Second?
Again.
I'll call out voting members. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Approved. Next, please.
Okay, so the next extension comes from Onondaga County. They are also looking to extend a round 22 contract that ends on December 31st of this year. They are requesting a 1-year time extension to December 31st of 2021 for the reason that is explained on the summary report. This amendment has been reviewed and is supported by PJ Emmerich, Region 2 AEA, and referred to the state committee.
Any questions, anyone? Any comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Well, I'll call you out by name. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
Next one, we're moving on to the Region 3 extension request, and our next amendment comes from Delaware County. They are looking to extend a round 23 contract that has a current end date of December 31st, 2020. They are looking for an 18-month extension for a new end date of June 30th, 2022. The reason for their request is provided in the summary report. Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, supports this request and refers to the state committee.
Any questions or comments, anyone? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Dave's come out again.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, we got him. Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
Okay, next one is also from Delaware County for a round 23 project that currently ends on December 31st of 2020. They are also looking for an 18-month extension on this contract as well for a new end date of June 30th, 2022. The reason for their request is highlighted here on the summary report. And this amendment has been reviewed and is supported by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA.
Comments, questions, anyone? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We'll go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
The next extension request is from Fulton County Soil and Water Conservation District for a round 22 contract that expires at the end of this year. They are looking for a 1-year time extension for a new end date of December 31st, 2021. Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, has reviewed and supports this request, but refers to the state committee.
Comments, questions, anyone? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. I'll call names. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Darren?
Aye.
Thank you. Next.
Okay. The next amendment comes from Madison County for a round 23 contract that expires at the end of this year. They are requesting a 1-year time extension for a new end date of December 31st, 2021. The reason for the request is highlighted here on the summary report. And this amendment has been reviewed and is supported by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, and referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
Okay, the next one is also from Madison County for a round 23 project. They are looking to request a 1-year time extension for a new end date of December 31st, 2021, for the reason highlighted here on the summary report. This extension request has been reviewed and is supported by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, but referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? You get a motion, please?
So
Second.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
Next one is also from Madison County for a round 23 project that expires at the end of this year. They are looking to request a 1-year time extension for a new end date of December 31st, 2021, for the reasons highlighted here on the summary report. This amendment request has been reviewed and is supported by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, and referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
Okay, next one is another Madison County extension for a round 23 contract. They're looking to extend their project for 1 year for a new end date of December 31st, 2021. The reason for the request is highlighted here on the summary report. This amendment has been reviewed and is supported by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, but referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
Okay. And this next one is also from Madison County for a round 23 contract that expires at the end of this year, and they're looking to request a one-year time extension for a new end date of December 31st, 2021. The reason for their request is highlighted here on the summary report, and this amendment has been reviewed and is supported by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, and referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Get a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next one.
So our next, and this is our final amendment request that requires approval today, is from Suffolk County Soil and Water Conservation District for a round 21 contract that will be expiring at the end of this year, and they are requesting a 6-month time extension for a new end date of June 30th, 2021. This amendment request has been reviewed by Ben Luskin, Region 5 AEA, who also supports the request but refers to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We'll go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Darren?
Aye.
Thank you. Approved. A lot of them, just like last month. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. So that concludes all the amendments. I really appreciate the voting members considering all these time extensions. It's been a heck of a year for districts out there, and I know that they appreciate the extra time to be able to get these projects completed and conservation practices on the ground. So thank you all very much for considering all these.
Thank you. Anything else on Ag non-point, Bethany?
I will just add that we are still on hold in terms of round 26 and, being able to make any awards or any announcements regarding those projects. And we are hopeful that things will start to move at some point, but we do appreciate everyone's patience with that. And hopefully we'll be able to make some progress on that round soon.
Thank you. I'll move on to climate resilient. Jason and Jennifer.
I'll just go first up. So for the CRF program database to date, there have been 14 completed contracts totaling $1,422,000. One additional contract has been completed since I've made this dashboard. It was a round 3, but I didn't get to close it out in the database in time. So we'll reflect on that next time we meet. There are 56 active contracts totaling $5,893,000. That is a decrease of 1 contract from last month due to 1 cancellation. And that brings canceled contracts up to 3. There are still 0 partial closeouts and 0 pending contracts. Thank you.
This is Jennifer, so thank you, Jason. We have 3 or 2 time extensions this month, unless there are any questions about the data. in the dashboard. Okay. So the first time extension is.
Hold on, Jennifer, let me get it
region.
pulled up for you.
Yeah, she's got it.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry.
There we are.
Okay, are you guys seeing it now?
Yep.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Bethany. So the first time extension is from Region 1. It's a round 2 time extension that's set to expire at the end of this year. It's a 1-year time extension request to end December 31st, 2021. The district is requesting a 1-year no-cost time extension to allow the farm to complete the irrigation pond project. The initial location was unsuitable and a location change was made. Local permitting restrictions and lack of available contractors due to COVID-19 have slowed progress on the project. An additional construction season would give the farm time to complete the project. The farm is committed to completing this project. This is supported by Victor DiGiacomo, but is referred to the state committee.
Questions, anyone? Comments? Need a motion, please? Second.
Second.
We'll go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next one.
Thank you. So the second one is a Region 2 from Onondaga County. This is also a round 2 project that is set to expire at the end of this year. The time extension would be for 1 year to expire 12/31/2021. So the SWCD is requesting a 1-year no-cost time extension to allow the farm to complete the grazing system. Implementation of this project was delayed by the landowner purchasing a parcel of land adjacent to the main farm to install the grazing system rather than a parcel further away. This will result in a better project for the farm and a less costly project. The farm is committed to completing this project in the new time frame. This is supported by PJ Emmerich, but is referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We'll go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you.
Thank you. So those are the only 2 time extensions we had, and I don't have any other updates on the CRF program unless there are any questions.
Any questions or comments, anyone, on the CRF? If not, we'll go to Jason on the cover crop survey results.
Jason, you should have the presentation now.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the slide?
Nope.
Not yet.
Nope. No bummer. Okay. Share content.
There we go.
are.
Oh, looks like it. Okay, great. Just pulling out my presenter slides. Thank you. Okay. So, thank you. I'm Jason, and I'm going to present the Barriers to Cover Crop Adoption Survey results. We released a survey a couple of weeks ago, and we got a number of responses back. And we're still early in our analysis, but we have organized the data to a point where we can provide like a summary of the answers and sort of an overview of what we got in terms of the districts. And it's also the last state committee meeting of the year, so it would be nice to end on like a nice presentation, lots of data that reflects both on the hard work that the staff went into the survey, but also the hard work that districts went into providing feedback and responses for us. And so again, the reason we made this survey again was to use feedback from the firsthand experience of districts to improve our policies or programs and to increase cover crop adoption across the state. So there was 4 sections and 42 questions in the survey. In this presentation today, I am going to run through the survey, but I'm just going to touch on each question briefly and just highlight the top answer or perhaps the highest rated answer, the key, I guess, piece of information we gathered. So it's going to be data heavy, but we're going to move through it. And then at the end of each section, I'm going to pause at a summary slide where I'm going to break down the things that we've noticed or I've noticed. And I also want to open it up then to the other authors of the survey, the rest of the staff who, you know, this was a team effort. We all came together, lots of collaboration, lots of question writing. So if anyone notices anything that I didn't mention in that last section of this, you know, that I'm going over, please feel free to hop in there. So the types of questions we got kind of broke up into quantitative and qualitative, ones that could be summarized with basic graphs and statistics with Excel or perhaps mapped on GIS. But then there's short answer questions, kind of longer answers that are, you know, tough to present in a format like this. So I thought to present them in sort of a word cloud format. There's free software online that lets you plug in answers, and it assembles the words in a way that the most common answers are assembled in the middle and they're larger. So it just kind of presents, you know, answers like this in a way that you can visually see. Sometimes they're more useful than others, like a longer answer is going to not get as many keywords that you can glean from it, but some of those shorter 2-3 answer questions, actually some things kind of jump out. So when we get to those, I'll just pause, go over the question and some words I noticed, or we can pause and take a look at it. So getting on to the responses that we got a total of 41 responses to date. And I say to date because if there's anyone else that would like to do the response or submit the survey, please do just let your regional AEA know, and we'll still add it to our analysis. Obviously, it can't go into the presentation today, but we want as much feedback as we can get, and take this moment to say thank you to everyone that took the survey, and thank you to the regional staff for helping districts whenever they had questions, submitting or anything like that, just questions on the format. And again, just excellent responses, great from all over the state. So really happy, and thanks everyone. So the first section I was going to go over is our first section, local interest and ability in adopting cover crops. It's 23 questions. It's our longest section, and it covers such topics at a local level that districts would have knowledge about, such as how many or what % of farms are cover cropping, the cover cropping methods that they're doing in the district, like the amounts or the establishment types or termination, types of farms interested in cover cropping, perceived benefits or drawbacks, and local resources that might be available for adopting cover crops in that county. So let's get started. Question one is a good way to break up the format of these questions too. It's what is the estimated % of farms who participate in AIM that use cover crops? Hereafter, I'm going to refer to those as just AIM farms. Those are farms that are participating in Ag Point, CRF, AIM-based, etc. We call them AIM farms. So what % of AIM farms in the district use cover crops? The most common answer was between 15 to 40%. When we expanded that to the whole county level, we asked the estimated % of all farms in your entire county that use cover crops. It was the same answer of the same proportions approximately. Most common answer was between 15 to 40% of all farms in the county. We asked districts to put a numerical value on the number of AIM farms that are using cover crops in the county. The median of all answers was 28. The average was 49, and there were some outliers, 100, 120, 300, and 320 farms that are AIM farms using cover crops. When we extrapolated that to the whole county, all farms in the county, it was a little bit higher, a median of 34, an average of 73, and outliers, 200, 300, 350, and 450. We asked of AIM farms that use cover crops, what % of their row crop acres do they do annually? The most common answer was between 15 to 40% of their row crop acres, so less than half of their land. Of the AIM farms who use cover crops, we asked how often do they plant? The most common answer was annually. 3/4 said annually. Of AIM farms who use cover crops, what % are CAFO permitted farms? The most common answer was less than 15%. So 58% of respondents said less than 15% of the AIM farms are also CAFO farms doing cover crops. Of acres that are cover cropped by AIM farms, what % are done by CAFO permitted farms? Also, the lowest fraction, less than 15%. Next, we get into scoring the interest of cover cropping by types of AIM farms in your county. So these are just different types of production types of farms. The highest average scoring one was dairy, but I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of difference across them, or we noticed there wasn't a whole lot of difference across them, but dairy scored the highest. We asked in the same question these types of categories in terms of CAFO, non-CAFO, certified organic, and conventional. The highest was non-CAFO, but as you can see, it's pretty large error bars and not a big amount of difference between those. Question 10, we asked respondents to score the relative importance of each benefit of using cover crops on their farms. The top answers were for reduced soil erosion, increased organic matter, and an improved nitrogen budget, improved nitrogen retention, or decreased nitrate leaching. In question 11, we asked them to score the interest of cover cropping by types of farms between those working with state committee or the district, or those not currently working with state committee or the district, and state committee or district participants also scored higher here. Question 12, we asked, what is the typical total cost to fully implement an acre of cover crops in your county? The highest rated answer was between $60 to $80. 43% said between $60 to $80 to implement an acre of cover crops. We asked, how are most AIM farms establishing cover crops in your county? Top answers were for drilled seeding and broadcast seeding, and the lowest answers were for aerial seeding, all getting about 1 out of 5. We asked in question 14, so this is our first word bubble that kind of comes out when we ask these longer answer questions. What other ways would AIM farmers consider establishing cover crops in your county? A whole lot comes out, so just quickly gleaning from these questions that come up, the larger ones, drone, high voice seeder, drilled interseeding, late season interseeding. We're gonna have to take a closer look at these and read them, you know, and use our brains to pick apart these. So, but that's a neat way to look at the data. In question 15, we asked, what is the approximate percent of each of the following types of cover crops? The most common type of cover crop, or what people are using most, was grasses. They said on average 75% of the cover crops planted would be grasses. Next highest was legumes at about 25%. In question 16, we asked, what is the estimated percent of cover crop acreage planted by custom operators? 2/3 said it's less than 15% of the cover crops are done by custom operators. So not high fraction done by custom operators. Next is a word bubble that asks about winter hardy cover crops and harvested double crop. And it's a more in-depth answer. So it's one that staff's just gonna have to look at and analyze, and it seems like there's a lot of good responses and a lot of to glean from it. So one that we can't quickly glean from a word bubble like this though. In question 18, we asked, how are most AIM farms in your county terminating their cover crops? Most common were tillage and herbicide. 19, what other ways would AIM farmers consider terminating their cover crops? This is a shorter answer question, so some things came up. I saw crimper and crimping, silage tarp, roller, and what prevents them from using this method? I see lack of equipment and such. Excuse me. So in question 20, we asked if Cornell Cooperative Extension or Cornell University provides workshops in their county, workshops, field days, demos, etc. Most said yes, 59% said yes. And those would be in these counties. In question 21, we asked, are there any farmers in your county helping to encourage other farms to plant cover crops? 85% said yes, which is great. And we asked, how are farmers encouraging others? The top answer was word of mouth, it seems, from the word bubble like this, but also some things that were interesting, like Farmers Panel and Empire Farm Day. In your professional opinion, what has prevented more AIM farms from long-term adoption of cover crops after participating in the district cover crop program? So why are they not continuing to cover crop after the program is done? Top answers were not enough time to establish cover crops, and the cost, the benefits do not justify the cost. Okay. So we hit the end of the first session, and these are the summary points that I just kind of gleaned, just me gleaning, but there's a whole lot of analysis to still do. Word of mouth is an important way that farmers are encouraging others to adopt cover crops. Drilled seeding after main harvest and tillage were the most reported common ways that farmers are establishing and terminating cover crops respectively. The most common planted cover crop type is grasses. There was little reported difference across farm production types in cover crop enthusiasm or interest. And insufficient time to establish cover crops was reported as a top reason that prevents farmers' long-term cover crop adoption. So that's the end of section 1. I'll pause there mostly because I need a quick break. But if there's any quick questions or any feedback from staff, you can hop in now. But if not,
I just Jason, thank you so much for all your work in preparing and receiving and analyzing this data. Very interesting and certainly informative. So remember, part of this was to try to identify barriers to the continual adoption of cover crops. So these summary points here are really important and will help us to guide the discussions and how we can best develop and deliver programs to overcome some of those barriers. So insufficient time to establish cover crops, for example, what are some of the tools, what are some of the ways that we could overcome that? Certainly interseeding, either with the interseed type drill or the high boy type system, something that we've seen. Maybe shorter variety of different crop seeds, and there may not be a great silver bullet to overcome that barrier, but what are some of the tools that we have at our disposal and that we can make more available? So just to again put a emphasis on this information really helping us to continue the discussion and development and delivery of cost share programs, including but not limited to also equipment availability. So thank you again, and thank you to all of the survey those that responded to the survey and provided this really great data, and we will continue to analyze it even further.
One comment I have is the second response on one of the reasons did not see the value, wasn't worth the value return. From our experience, the value return is very high compared to the cost. I think we need to have, not sure who, Cornell or somebody, do a financial cost analysis of the cover crops in order to show the farmers the benefit. There is a very large financial benefit in our view.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. I'll move on to the next session. Thank you guys both for that. So the next session we had was the district capacity for supporting cover crops. This one is short. That was the longest one. That was the most, data heavy section. So this one's a little bit shorter. It's 9 questions. It covers the district soil health program, the district's cover cropping experience, and suggestions that they might have for improving district capacity for supporting cover crop adoption. And these pictures I found were from the internet. They are just from the district's Facebook pages or on their websites, and they show what's already going on in terms of their support in terms of cover crops. So that is Schuyler, Clinton, and Niagara counties. Just some examples of what they're doing, which is awesome. So
Jason,
the first
I think you're still in the previous slide. I don't know, is anybody seeing the slide that Jason's describing, or is it just me? Sorry about that, Jason. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I see question 24.
Oh, okay. Then it might just be me. Yep. Sorry about that, everybody. I'll try to fix that. Apologies.
So thanks for letting me. Yes. So question 24 was, does your district have a soil health program? 60% said yes. And in the following counties is where they responded yes. The green was yes. So we asked them to please briefly describe your soil health, district soil health program, how it's funded and what are its needs. Again, this is a longer and more in-depth question that we're looking forward to diving into. Question 26, we asked, does your district have a certified crop advisor or CCA on staff? It was pretty much a 50-50 split, slightly skewed a little bit towards the no, but interestingly, I noticed there might be more of a geographical story going on with it. Maybe there are fewer in the north. So we asked, how would you describe your district's experience with cover crops? 50% describe themselves as very experienced. They work with cover crops frequently, which is awesome. Question 28, has your district ever applied for and not received funding for cover crops? 79% reported no, so 21% replied that yes, they had applied for cover crops and not received it. I guess would be the flip side of that. Question 29, which of the following do you think would assist districts in supporting cover crops to adopt cover crops? Top answer was additional cover crop funding and grants. Second one, equipment for the farm. We asked what types or pieces of equipment would assist your district in supporting farms to adopt cover crops. We saw things like roller crimper, interseeder, tractor, drill. So I look forward to reading more about that. Lots of else in there too. We asked what would improve your district's ability to provide technical assistance over cover crops. Again, a really in-depth question. Going to have to take a closer look at it. But funding was the big one, the biggest word that comes through. So makes sense. A summary of points here. It was approximately 1/2 of the responding districts have a CCA on staff, seemingly fewer in northern New York. Interseeders, tractors, roller crimpers, and drills were frequently mentioned for pieces of equipment that would assist districts in supporting cover crop adoption. Additional cover crop funding and grants was the average most helpful item reported for aiding districts in supporting cover crop adoption. Second was equipment availability. And so I'll pause here again. If there's nothing else, we can have an open discussion at the end. Okay. Hearing nothing, I'll move on to the next one. This one is covering the New York Soil Health Initiative. And this one has mostly short answer questions, so there's not going to be a lot that we can present for it. But one question we asked was just district's availability, or excuse me, not availability, their knowledge of the Cornell's New York Soil Health Program, their awareness of it, excuse me. 85% said that they were aware of the resources by Cornell's Soil Health Program. And so some of the questions that we ask, and we're not going to take too close of a look at the word clouds, but just the questions are, how helpful are New York Soil Health Initiative programs for outreach efforts in promoting soil health? How useful are the Soil Health Initiative resources for informing and assisting the district's cover crop program? Over the past 3 years, how often has your district partnered with the Soil Health Initiative? How can the New York Soil Health Initiative improve its programs and support the districts? And so in summary, we learned that more than 85% of respondents are aware of the New York Soil Health Initiative resources, and that this respondents provided really insightful feedback on the New York Soil Health Initiative to be analyzed by staff. Okay, last section. This last section deals with cover crops in the state committee and other programs. So it's just focused on our programs or other ones that they might be applying for cover crop funding. So we asked, which cost share program is your district most likely to apply for cover crops? The top two answers were Ag 9-Point and CRF, but we also saw Part C, EQIP, AIM, CSP, Lake Champlain Basin, Part B, and the USC cover crop program. We asked in question 38, the proposed state committee cost share rate for cover crops is $75 per acre for a single species and $86 per acre for multiple species. In your professional opinion, these per rate acres are, the top answer was 63%, about right. So 63% about right. Okay, and the last questions that we asked were the more open-ended ones. We asked them to describe their experience working with state committee rates and policies and how they would suggest to increase partnership and how to better access funding and local support. We asked of their opinion of farms that have not continued to plant cover crops, why do they think so? We asked of farms who have continued to plant cover crops after receiving the funding, why did they continue to keep doing it? Why yes? And then we just asked generally, how can state committee improve its programs and policies on cover cropping? And so in summary for this last one, we found that AgNodPoint and CRF are the most often selected programs. 63% consider state committee cover crop share rates are about right. And again, respondents gave really insightful short answer responses for us to analyze. So that's the survey at, a mile high, and we got a lot more work to do, but we have a lot of good data to pull from. And in the coming, new year, it's a really great project to really put it to real use in terms of policy or program improvements, or just the knowledge that we gained is so valuable. So thank you for letting me show the results right now, and I'll open it up for just questions and general discussion.
Thanks, Jason. Everybody, this is Bethany. I just want to point out, if you hadn't been following along with the chat, there's been some good comments that have come through while Jason was presenting, and I just want to point out that Erica posted a link to the American Farmland Trust cost-benefit analysis tool that was developed. So if you haven't checked that out, the link is in the chat box.
One comment, I was told by a small farmer that the reason he didn't use the district interceder was that he was required to have an insurance policy of a certain amount that he didn't have in order to be able to move it, I think, on the roads. But and that's why he didn't use it. So I'm not sure if that's happening in other districts or if that was a single issue, but I question that.
Lots of districts on the line today. I encourage you to take your phone off mute, and if you have any thoughts on that particular point or any of the points of the survey, please feel free to share. We have plenty of time on the agenda today.
Don't be bashful.
So this is Chaz. I'm never bashful. So we have a no-till, and we do require the landowner to add us onto their insurance liability. It is not a limiting factor for most of ours. We work really closely with the insurance company and get it for the short period of time. Normally, it doesn't cost anything at all, but if it does, it's maybe a $10, $20 fee. But for the most part, it is not an issue for us to have it. So he may have that insurance and not realize it, because if he has tractors or anything, for the most part, it's probably covered.
Yeah, he was a small farmer, so I'm not sure exactly enough about the situation, but he did make a complaint to me about it.
Yeah.
So this is Pete from Clinton County. We don't require an insurance, form, but we do all the delivery ourselves, so they don't drive it on the road.
Yeah.
So Dale, now that I figured out how to unmute myself, this is Brad from Genesee County. What you just described is one of the issues I know we've run into a couple of times in Genesee, where smaller farmers didn't have insurance requirements to be able to rent have access to it. The coalition, the Genesee River Watershed Coalition. We're looking into some options this winter to try to get around that and make it a little bit more clear. But yeah, with the 6-row unit that we got, which is more applicable to these smaller guys, it's been difficult to get through some of the insurance requirements.
Well, is there, not sure if we can help you get that fixed or not, but or lead you in the right direction. But the more we cover crops we can get in, the more we can help, the better. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the offer. We've got some discussions within the coalition now, trying to figure out how we can maybe revamp this. But I appreciate it.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions, discussion?
I just want to point out we will be having a technical advisory committee meeting, most likely in January, and that will be a great opportunity for us to discuss some more of the open-ended questions. As Jason pointed out, there's a number of questions that we're still analyzing as a staff, and we'll be able to present, to that technical advisory committee on some of the answers to those questions, which will then help us to develop policy recommendations for the committee when it's time to present out to the committee on results of those discussions. Obviously, we've been putting a lot of emphasis in cover crops and soil health in general, and we do have a soil health policy that we are anxiously awaiting to unveil with the release of new program rounds down the road. So, keep that in mind as well. But, this is an important and very important initiative and one that we will continue to dive into to get the percentage of adoption. Notice I didn't say implementation, but adoption higher. We have a really good percentage of implementation through our programs, but we want to make sure that we also are able to influence adoption rates for cover crops and other soil health practices that meet a myriad of environmental and production benefits.
Thank you, Jason. Very good.
Yeah, thank you, Beth.
All right, we will move on to advisory reports. I'll start with voting members, and then I'll move to Brian. Erica?
Yes, and I'll just kind of pick up a little bit on the link I shared. We have released a new soil health economic case study, just I think it was last week, of Hargo Farm in Genesee County. So I'll also drop that link, but I want to note as well, in addition to these case studies that AFT has been working on that are really kind of looking at retrospective data and how things have changed on the farm, we're also developing a predictive analysis tool. So I think that will be a helpful piece, and that's something we're working on and starting to implement as well. But I'll drop the link to the Hargo case study, which is the latest in our soil health economic case studies. Also wanted to follow up, I think last meeting had mentioned that we were putting together a continuing legal education program with Pace University to support landowners, specifically those who are not farming, to enable them to put more conservation practices and to better understand how to build those into leases, but also to know who to connect to in terms of conservation districts and NRCS staff. And so I'll drop the link to have recordings from all those sessions. We had about 70 attendees that both represented the legal community, but also technical advisors and other practitioners, as well as some landowners who were represented. So those are the updates I have from AFT.
Thank you. Darren, anything?
Not much other than we had Farm Bureau state annual meeting last week, and it pretty much went off. It was all virtual, and tell me that we're going to have 100 and some farmers on a virtual meeting running two programs on their computer at once and have it go off without a hitch I never would have believed it, but it went fine. We had good discussion, and we actually there's some things coming out of this whole virtual thing where I think we're going to start having maybe not monthly, but bi-monthly virtual meetings with some of our legislators. So instead of one lobby day or whatever, we're going to meet with them, several of them every couple months or quarters. So it might actually might be good. That's about it.
Good idea. Dave?
I haven't got anything, Dan.
You've got a lot of background noise. If you're not on, can you please mute? Dave, anything?
I don't have anything. We had a good fall with Grange with dinners. We served them right off the front porch of the Grange Hall. It worked out good. We actually made more money than we did on our regular dinners. We had 75, 80 people every week, every time.
Excellent.
All I've got.
The only thing I have is that I've asked Brian to reach out to the districts, for those districts that are on call today, that is there something we as a committee should be working on to help the districts now with the COVID stuff that's going on that we aren't doing? That maybe you're having an issue or something in the field, or that we don't know about, or that we need to be looking at something a little different due to the COVID, the whole process of what we're going through. So I know Brian's going to reach out to districts, and in a future meeting, we'll have a discussion. Do we need to adapt and change differently than we are now in order to meet the new reality of what everything is? Turn it over to you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Dale. And just to continue that thought, Chaz, hopefully you can leave some time for me at the managers meeting this week to really ask that question at that forum first, and through our regional coordinators and their attendance at virtual board meetings, and through our correspondence, we'll try to reach as many districts as possible. We just want to make sure that we're being as supportive as possible out there to all districts through this. And certainly we made some changes in 2020, and looks like we'll still have to continue some of that planning and a modification of services into 2021. Okay, thank you, Dale. So I will start off with advisory members. Ag and Markets, anything to report? Tim?
Hi, Brian. No, I have nothing new to report. Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Tim. CDEA, Chaz?
Thanks, Brian. As Brian mentioned, we do have a managers meeting this Thursday at 1 o'clock. It's a Zoom call. I definitely will give you an opportunity to ask that question. If there's any districts on the phone today that want to fly any of those concerns or comments to me now, please do so. We have shifted Water Quality Symposium to a virtual event. So we are in the process of trying to get all those classes scheduled and situated. We're shooting for about 5 classes per each segment. It's going to run the same week as always, so March 8th through that Friday. We are going to hold the annual meeting and awards ceremony via Zoom on Tuesday afternoon. Not exactly sure what time yet. I'm still working that out, I'm hoping it won't be longer than 2 hours. If I've got it kind of scheduled out and planned right. We are going to try and do a class per each section, so an agricultural class, a non-ag class, education, forestry, and clerks. We are also adding in Monday afternoon just to spread things out a little bit more, so there isn't so many conflicting all at the same time classes. We are still trying to determine if we're going to use somebody to help facilitate that, but we may be reaching out to some of our awesome district folks that are tech savvy to help us out with a class here and there, maybe be a moderator and whatnot. So we're really working on trying to get that together. Our next meeting will be in January, date yet to be determined. I've got to get back on that and figure that one out. And we are still plugging along with our 4-hour online class and trying to shift that to be more automated. So, but symposiums are a big thing. We're also still investigating the idea of a leadership conference this summer. We do that every 3-ish years. We didn't have it last summer, it was slated to be. So we're hoping maybe this summer, but it will all depend on COVID and the ability to gather or not. So please stay tuned on that. But we'll be getting some information out soon to districts. Hoping to have the symposium packet out by the beginning of January. and the fee will be very low compared to usual because we're not holding an in-site meeting. So if anybody's got any questions for me.
Thank you, Chaz. You said there's a meeting to be planned in January. You're referring to CDEA?
Yes, sorry. Yep.
Oh, no problem.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. Is that all, Chaz?
That's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments for Chaz? Okay. Moving on, and welcome to Beth Claypool from Cornell Cooperative Extension. I saw that you joined the meeting, and do you have anything to report to the state committee, Beth?
Just that all of our meetings are continuing to be planned, the big meetings that we have, and all of them are basically turning to virtual. So I hope all of you are familiar with the New York State Ag Society. That meeting is going to be virtual. Please look on their website for registration. And I know our specialists are in the process of planning the Fruit and Vegetable Expo. And so that hundreds of growers from across the state in the Northeast attend that. And we're actually finding in all our meetings for Zoom, they're higher than what we would normally have in person because it gives more people the opportunity to attend. And so I think that's something we're pondering and saying, okay, what can we learn from this? Because we're getting way more participation on Zoom, in some instances, double or triple than we would have an in-person meeting, even when we have in-person meeting of, 20 to 100 people. So we're kind of learning from this and moving forward and using different technologies and video and all sorts of ways to interact with the audience over Zoom, from polling, breakout rooms, and all sorts of things. So I think it's been a great learning experience for educators as well as for the farm public as well.
Thank you, Beth. Really great points. Yes, we're definitely experiencing the same thing and learning a lot from, having to adapt and go more virtual, and certainly noticing a much higher level of attendance and participation rates in everything we do. So
yeah, Brian, I just thought one more comment too. Yeah, one of the things too that a participant mentioned to me was if they go to a conference, they're sitting in a room for 45 minutes listening to a presentation, and they're just absorbing information. Okay. The difference, he said, on Zoom is that people are interacting in the chat box. And he found that really refreshing because during somebody's presentation, they're asking questions about the presentation. People are giving their comments on it and all sorts of things. And so that person who provided me that feedback actually enjoyed listening to a 45-minute presentation and participating in the chat box.
Yeah, really, really good point there as well. Yeah, it's like a whole nother meeting within the meeting going on in the chat box, something that we've experienced. And yeah, it definitely is something more to monitor and interact with, but you start to kind of get a feeling for it. Yeah, there's a lot of really good discussion and a lot added to those meetings through the chat feature. Good point. Well, thank you, Beth. The New York State Ag Society, is that going to be held in January?
Yes, it's usually the first Thursday, right? I think it's January 7th this year. Yep.
Wonderful. Right around the corner. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Beth. Any questions or comments for Beth? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to just see if Brian from CALS has joined us. Okay. DEC, anything to report? Julia, Steen, Sarah?
Hi, Brian. It's Sarah. I don't have anything, but happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you.
Hey, Brian. It's Julie. Asim and I are working on the non-point source annual update.
Okay. Yep.
So we're just going to be working on that report for a bit, and I'm probably going to be bothering Jason for some data. So other than that, I have nothing else, and happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much. Hi there, everyone. Actually, I received a request for the time extension of Division of Water and Department of Agriculture MOU AM 100154. I have actually sent that request for no cost time extension, and I'm supporting it to Kuhn as well as Ben Sears. And we should, as soon as I hear something back, I will be reporting back to you guys. And as Julie has mentioned, we are working on non-point source update. So I will be bothering you guys again to have, if I have some questions. And that's all I have. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate that update on the MOU as well. Thank you. Okay. Paul Morgan, Department of Health.
Hi, it's Paul. Nothing to report. Wish everybody a very nice holiday and everyone stay healthy.
That is a good report from the Department of Health. Thank you for that. Stay healthy. Noted. Appreciate it. Morgan, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope. I'm good. Same, not kind of quiet at the moment. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Stephanie, Department of State.
Thanks. I don't have too much. We're anxiously awaiting any word on the solicitation through the CFA for grants for the upcoming round. But in the meantime, there's been a lot of work that folks are doing on the watershed front. We received the St. Lawrence watershed final draft, which we're reviewing now, which looks like a great document. And I know there was support from the soil and water districts on a large support of the soil and water districts on that plan. Moving forward with the Owasco Lake watershed, we just extended that through August of 2021 to do some additional calibration of the model, but some of that drafting of sections are coming in. And then, there's a variety of other watershed plans that we're working in coordination with DEC and other soil and water districts throughout the state. So we're just kind of plugging along on those. So that's great. And then just as an aside, I just wanted to recognize, you and the other staff that I know are both tasked with keeping this committee up and running, as well as the CLCPA work. I've been sitting on all of the calls and subcommittees through that effort, and it's been a huge effort on your part. And I know that the staff is shared between all of these initiatives, and it's very impressive the work that's coming out of it. So I just wanted to recognize all of your staff that's doing that. So and other than that, that's all I have, and happy holidays.
Stephanie, thank you very much for those kind words. And it has been a pleasure to virtually attend 2 or 3 meetings, I think, a week with you. And we've been working together for a really long time, and I really appreciate your personal, commitment to the committee, to soil and water districts, to all of our programs and shared initiatives. And, the Department of State as a whole has just been a wonderful partner to the committee and districts and all of that for quite some time. So thank you.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay. ESF. Shaw.
Yeah, I don't really have too much. I guess as one side note, I'm continuing to work with New York Power Authority and Canal Corporation on some projects there for kind of looking for new uses for the canal, and that does seem to be moving forward. Although still some things have to kind of happen in the next few weeks or months here, but there's sort of an effort to develop some new irrigation projects. So hopefully there'll be kind of good news about that in the coming few months. Still a little bit of uncertainty, but just something to mention. But otherwise, that's all I have. And happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Well, we do have a discussion plan with the Power Authority tomorrow to go over an MOU document and to try to advance that initiative you were referring to, and put something out hopefully in the first quarter or two of 2021. So stay tuned. Appreciate you giving that update.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep, thank you. NRCS, Blake, Paula?
Good morning, Chairman, and good morning, Brian. Just a couple of things. NRCS, or federal government-wise, we are still under a continuing resolution for another week or so, and see if Congress can pass a budget. So what that means for NRCS right now is that we are currently at about 19%, 20% funded. But our mandatory funds, so all of our farm bill programs, those are fully funded. So none of that will affect producers around the state. Those will still continue to move forward. It's just our operating budget is right around 20% right now. So we'll see what happens in the next week or so on that. On the farm bill program front, CSP, Conservation Stewardship Program, those folks that were coming out of CSP, they had an option to renew their contracts, and so those will move forward. We're pushing those forward as we speak, along with those payments that producers on CSP, those producers that want to receive payment in calendar year 20 for tax purposes. They are able to do that, or we can make those payments after January 1st for those guys that want to move, have that payment in the next calendar year. CRP plans are hot and heavy right now with the field offices, trying to get those done and over to FSA so they can finish up CRP contracting on their program. On the COVID front, NRCS or all service centers are back to limited staff in the office and closed to the public at this time through January 5th. That was more of a national push, along with some state leader push as well. Not only me, but FSA, along with rural development and our IT folks. We made that decision to kind of take a pause on what we were trying to do and slowly open up to go back to limited staff and see if we can't make a dent in our issues that we were having around the state as we were trying to open up. So after January 5th, we will make another decision on what that operational status will be for our field offices, and then we'll go from there. The last thing I have, in Onondaga County, our Whitestown Floodplain Easement program is going to be a major project for NRCS. We currently have there were over 200 properties that were affected by the Halloween flood of 2019. We had applications for 192 properties to be ultimately bought out, and then for us to restore that land back to its original floodplain for floodplain purposes. So what that means for NRCS is a multi-year workload for us. Right now, it's estimated around $25 to $28 million that will cost for ultimately buyout and restoring that land back to its original state. So with that, guys, I appreciate the opportunity, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's if we do not talk before then. Thank you.
Thank you, Blake. I have just a couple of questions. One on the CSP renewal. What, on average, can you say would be the renewal rate for CSP? Do most farms renew, or opposite? Do they bow out and not participate any further?
So two things. So that's kind of I say 5% of our farms either are going to go in for another 5 years, and the other 25 are either changing their operation to where CSP doesn't work, or they have changed their operation in the middle of the program to where it doesn't work as well. So I say about 25% are not moving forward.
Okay. Great, and that's statewide?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And second question, wow, that's quite the project there in Oneida County. I missed the name of the town, just so I can record that.
So Whitestown or Whitesboro, the town of Whitestown is we have to have a sponsor. So the town of Whitestown is who we are sponsored with on the local level to administer the floodplain easement project.
Great. Yeah, that's a massive project. Thank you. Thank you for informing us about that. Anything else, sir?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Paula, do you have anything to add? Okay. Next, we'll go to staff. I won't call on you individually, but if you just take your phone off mute, and if you have anything to comment on or add to the discussion, please do so.
Hey, everybody, this is Bethany, and I wanted to just give folks a quick update about the source water buffer program. I haven't really provided much of an update to the committee in a while. Just as a reminder, the source water buffer program was something that was supported through the Clean Water Infrastructure Act of 2017, and it is a cost share program that provides funds through conservation districts to farms for the purchase of conservation easements on agricultural land for the purpose of active public drinking water source protection. Back in June, we actually received our first application for an easement project through the source water buffer program. And very recently, we received approval to officially award the project. Chautauqua County Soil and Water has been awarded funds to implement a conservation easement project on a tributary of Chautauqua Lake, which is a source of drinking water for communities down there. The district will be working with the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy for the purposes of they will be holding and maintaining the easement. And I'm just very excited that we can finally move forward on a project through that program and get some easements in place, I guess.
Yeah, that's really, really great news, Bethany, and thank you to Chautauqua County Soil and Water District for being the first. Hopefully there will be many more. And if anybody would like any more information about the program, please reach out to Bethany. And it is still very much active, and it was also a great indication of things moving forward again in getting the authority to release that award. So thank you. Thank you, Bethany. Questions, comments for Bethany? All right, anybody else?
This is Ben. In regards to state aid, 6 of the 7 state aid annual reports were sent out on Friday and also posted to SharePoint. The only one that wasn't sent out yet was the treasurer's report. That should be out probably by the end of the week or early next week. Those are due back to us by February 15th. And if anybody's got any questions, just please let me know. That's it.
Thank you, Ben. A lot of work went into all of that. Really appreciate it. And we've made a lot of changes to the state aid program in 2020. And thank you for getting all of that out. If in case you missed it, as Ben indicated, an email went out to all soil and water districts on Friday with that material. All right, thanks, Ben. Anybody else?
Brian, it's Scott. I just wanted to give a shout out to some of the Region 2 and Region 3 districts, keeping with the cover crop theme earlier. I did an Agnon Point Source closeout, a multi-county project, 4 counties involved, and you really don't see that type of grant too much anymore. It's not certainly the easiest path to take, but this grant that just closed out, they got about 3,500 acres planted during the contract on 13 farms across 4 counties, Tioga, Onondaga, Shenango, and Madison. And it represents, 36 times that farmers got out on their fields and planted the cover crops. A ton of TA, a ton of farmer contribution in terms of time. Just a really great job, and I just wanted to put that out there, for everybody to be aware that, every project, of course, represents conservation hitting the ground, but this one was, a little bit different than most, and got a lot done, especially on the cover crop front. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you, Scott. I echo those words, those shout outs. Thank you. All those districts involved in that project and many, many more through the Agnon Point, CRF, and other associated programs. Really excellent work out there, and a lot of great field work has been done this year, irregardless of the challenges. So, thanks for that, Scott. Really great summary.
Hi, Brian. This is Paula Bagley. I'm sorry I wasn't quick enough on the unmute draw.
No problem. Thanks, Paula.
Hey, I just wanted to do a shout out and thank you for everybody that worked together to get the 590 training that we had last week together, and the collaboration that went on amongst this group really shone through in that training, and very much appreciate it. There was, just for your information, there was 93 participants across the state that got the update on the 590 and were able to ask questions to the ad hoc committee on decisions made, question and answers.
That is wonderful. Thank you for that, Paula. Thank you for finding the mute button and for adding that to the discussion, because it did remind me of one other item that was released to districts and partners earlier in the month or late last month. Wondering, either Paula or Blake, can you mention quickly about the effort underway to solicit feedback for cost share rates for core conservation practices? I don't have it in front of me, but driven by the new Farm Bill and the rates for certain practices going down, but we have an ability to maintain or keep a higher cost share rate for certain practices. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that feedback should be provided to NRCS? Hopefully we didn't miss the window. I think that's through sometime in early January. And forgive me if we should be reaching out to somebody else also with NRCS, but just wanted to.
Hi, I think Emily was going to take on the lead as far as like gathering information about the cost share. But you know what I can do is get you a copy of that email and the links that was sent out so that we can receive that feedback for prioritizing those higher cost share projects or practices.
Great, I appreciate that, Paula. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Any other state committee staff have anything to report? Okay, I just have a few things I'd like to cover. One is we continue to make payments every month on our current obligations, our contracts through the INBASE, the AgNom Point, CRF, EBM programs, and the Department of Ag and Markets continues to receive what's called a cash split for us to make those payments through the EPF. So other agencies within the state also receive a cash split authority, Department of State, DEC, Parks and Rec, others. We have received more funding over the last couple of months than we did previously, and we have reason to believe that that it will be maintained at a certain level. So we're still carrying a bit of a backlog and a balance on some of our AgNom Point source payments, but we were able to successfully receive authority to also start to make our state aid payments. So last month we put all of our Part B payments on that list. This month we put half of our Part A, and we'll put the other half of Part A and then all of Part C on the next couple of months list so that we are able to pay those in full. So if we continue to receive the same amount of funding, and if we can continue to manage it wisely, we could see our program balance dwindle, if not, be completely paid up by the end of the fiscal year. So that's what we're hoping for, and of course we're hoping for a little better outcome for the next fiscal year. Since the last time we met, there was some activity on the Class C streams permit legislation that passed both the New York State Senate and the Assembly. The governor did in fact veto that legislation, stating a pretty heavy financial burden to both the DEC and the staff that it would take to process the many, many thousands of miles of new streams that would be under the Stream Protection Program. Again, this was a very simple but also very impactful change where Class C streams would be included under the Stream Protection Permit. And many conservation districts did speak out about this legislation, talked about what districts are currently doing and how this legislation would actually impact the ability to continue to work in those streams and stream corridors for flood mitigation and water quality and habitat restoration projects. So as the governor vetoed that legislation, he also mentioned that our conservation districts, actually it was in the closing remarks, our conservation districts are doing an excellent job in managing those resources and working in those areas and making sure that both water quality and downstream community resiliency is being maintained, irregardless of the permit status for those stream miles. So really excellent to read that level of support from the governor's office for the work that conservation districts do, and can't say it enough. My hat's off to all of you for maintaining that level of work throughout the years and especially in 2020. Another initiative that we're working on, Bethany Bizdu, myself, and others from time to time, working with the DEC, Department of Health, Department of State on the Drinking Water Source Protection Program. And that's an initiative to try to bring resources to municipalities for developing source water protection plans. And guidance has gone out to those municipalities from DEC and Department of Health who are taking the lead on this. And the effort hopefully will lead to more of those source water protection plans being developed in key and critical watersheds throughout the state. So, our role is to make sure that we're identifying programs that can address water quality concerns, and that the work and services of soil and water districts are foremost at the table for those efforts. Finally, although later in the agenda we'll talk about the next meeting, but we generally do take the month of January off. But by the time we meet again, there will be a State of the State address and a New York State executive budget proposal. So stay tuned for that, and we will get information out when it becomes public to all districts and partners when that happens. That is all I have, Dale. Besides, a very, very happy holidays to all, and a huge thanks to state committee staff who just do tremendous work day in and day out, week in, week out, and proof today and in all of our meetings. The level of professionalism and work that is done by this tremendous staff. I'm blessed to be able to work with. So, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Any other comments? Plans to work, Brian?
Before we do that, though, can I just ask if there are any districts that want to take their phone off mute, address the committee or members of the public? Questions, comments? Okay, Dale, I think that's a long enough pause. Yep, I can go into the annual plans work at this time.
Thank you.
I was just talking in the mute button. Apologies, everybody. So last month we approved 55 of the annual plans of work, and many thanks to all the soil and water districts for getting those plans of work into the regional staff on time. Thank you to the regional staff for your expert review, analysis, and feedback on those reports. The 3 that we did not approve last month were only waiting for board approval before they would be officially ready for state committee. So, without any further ado, the following annual plans work are being asked for approval by the state committee: Ulster, Nassau, and Tennessee.
Have a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Dave? Might have lost him. Darren?
Aye.
Dave is muted.
That's okay. He's trying.
Yep, he's up now.
Oh, he can. Okay.
Can't hear me now?
Now we can. Hey.
Okay. This thing goes on and off like a clock.
All right. Vote aye, yay or nay, Dave?
Aye.
All approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Next meeting?
Oh, I got one more. I got one more brief topic to discuss with everybody before we go into the next meeting, Dale. If that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. We're getting a lot in today.
Got ahead of myself.
That's okay. That's all right. Hold on one second. The presentation. Okay. Everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So I put a few slides together. We like to talk this time of year at the end of each calendar year about, what are those topics that are key to address in the upcoming year. It's not exactly our annual plan of work or anything like that, but reflecting upon our strategic plan and all of the work that we've put into the last year. What are some of those topics that we'd like to discuss for the following year? So with that, certainly as I mentioned, in order to think about what topics to discuss in 2021, we really should be taking stock in our mission, which is to advance comprehensive natural resource management through the support of local soil and water conservation districts. So what are the most important topics to discuss, initiatives to advance in support of this mission? Or like as Dale mentioned earlier in the meeting, asked another way, what are the most important issues or even exciting opportunities in front of districts in 2021? So, you know, just a reminder, these meetings are conducted publicly, and these open discussions and the dialogue are really key to successfully meeting this mission. So, you know, I'd like to just take a few minutes. I have a few ideas here as well, but please solicit, you know, I want to solicit feedback from state committee voting members, advisory members, staff, districts, or anybody here participating today. So, and obviously this won't be the only opportunity to help form the agenda for the calendar year 2021, but a good place to start is at the end of 2020. So just as a reminder, you know, these are our three main goals in our strategic plan: conservation district operations, technical services and program delivery, comprehensive natural resource management, and cooperative conservation. So for the first goal, you know, what we're really looking for here is to ever increase the exposure of districts, make sure district management, staff, directors continue to lead in their field. So, you know, how can the committee help guide districts toward providing the most effective and successful conservation services? How do we help in building capacity in both staff and infrastructure? I know those are broader questions than, you know, how we, you know, want to formulate our meetings moving forward, but, you know, those meeting topics should be reflective of those objectives. Pause for any thoughts or ideas that anybody would like to share? You know, at the end of this too, we certainly can just have a good discussion as well. So perhaps I'll run through these few slides, and then there isn't a lot of content and material here, so we certainly could reflect back. Comprehensive natural resource management, it's about program and project delivery. So you know, how do we advance our cost share programs? How do we advance training and technical capacity building? So what are some of the topics? What are some of the strategic discussions we should be having as a committee to help address that? And the third bullet, really, one of the main ways that we do our work and manifest here in this meeting and all of our meetings is cooperative conservation. So it's about establishing and reinforcing and building new partnerships to advance common natural resource conservation goals. So, you know, how can we advance our partnerships through effective committee meetings, planning for those meetings, and then executing them effectively? So beyond, you know, our regular program updates, you know, what are other program-oriented topics does the committee wish to engage in? Are there different ways or subjects that the committee and partners would like to hear about related to both core and emerging program areas? So here are just a few of our core programs, and certainly there are other programs too, you know, that can be discussed, and also programs from other agencies, advisory agencies, or other partners can present and get the word out through our committee structure. This is a reminder, and we hear from our regional staff often during the reports at the end, and I think one of our most effective meetings we had during the height of COVID was when our regional staff reported to the committee on district operations, emergency planning, program impacts due to COVID. Does the committee want to hear more regional reports, more from regional coordinators on a regular basis? How often should that be, quarterly or more frequently? What should some of the themes of these reports be? Whether they should be operation focused or program or special projects, or all of the above. We have a number of subcommittees of the state committee. Here are just a few of the regular subcommittees that meet. We talked about the technical advisory committee earlier in the agenda. That meets on a regular basis, generally quarterly. The municipal subcommittee will be meeting tomorrow, in fact, and unfortunately we won't meet in January, but they will be reporting out on outcomes in February. We have an operations subcommittee that hasn't met in some time, but plan to meet in 2021 to go over district operational issues, where our operations manual is really the workflow or the work product from that. So there could be items that we'll be discussing with the committee and motions needed. We did table the State Aid to District Summit in 2020 in lieu of a more detailed state aid policy meeting early in 2020, which was really driven by the COVID emergency. But Ben and I have talked and looking forward to holding a virtual state aid summit here soon. Strategic partnerships. The USDA NRCS MOU with soil and water districts. We haven't engaged in that as a topic on the committee lately, but with that and all other district and NRCS activities, should we be hearing more from NRCS and committee leadership on those issues? We also have an MOU with the DEC. Ag and Markets is also signatory to that because these MOUs are usually project driven. So we have a number of projects that are active under that MOU. And the plan would be as either they close out or reach milestones, we would have leadership from the DEC, the state committee, and those district leads present to the committee on projects. In many regards, these projects are funded by DEC with special funding that then can be utilized or lessons learned utilized for bringing those types of projects and initiatives more statewide into our core programs. So we do have a plan in 2021 to bring some of those issues to the committee. Steve Shaw mentioned it earlier, and worth mentioning here as well that we have a new partnership developing with the New York Power Authority, specifically on how we can utilize the Erie Canal for increasing our irrigation capacity within a Western New York region. So there will be more to come on that in 2021 as we develop that MOU and move forward to advance those programs. I talked a little bit about the Drinking Water Source Protection Program, and there are certainly others that are ongoing, special assignments and partnership projects. We've talked about the CLCPA implementation, that is the Climate Act. The Ag and Forestry panel continues to be very busy, and much of their work and recommendations will conclude by the end of the first quarter in 2021, but regardless, there will still be a lot of work going into the scoping plan, and those Ag and Forestry panel recommendations certainly will have an impact on our programs and hopefully resources as well as we move forward. So plan to have more discussions, not just for me or from Amanda, who is the district lead on that panel, but from the leadership in charge with implementing the CLCPA. So stay tuned for that. Of course, the HAB initiative, right? So 2018 and certainly continues in a lot of forms. We certainly could also be talking to leaders at DEC about harmful algal blooms and their outbreaks and impacts. So I'd like to circle back to some of that. In the late summer, early fall, Lake George had its first confirmed harmful algal bloom, and that is a benchmark and a milestone that nobody asked for or wanted to experience. But you know, the issues are still very real out there. So last month we heard from the Upper Susquehanna Coalition. Wendy Walsh gave an excellent, thorough, comprehensive presentation to the committee on the organization of that coalition, as well as the programs and projects and areas of focus. And as Dale and I were talking just the other day, it would be great to hear from more watershed coalitions across the state. I think it would be a really effective and efficient way to gather information and share that information and what soil and water districts are doing across the state. So there's just a few, there's a list of current coalitions, and there certainly are others that are forming within the broader coalitions as well. So, subgroups such as the Eastern Finger Lakes, driven by the Cover Crop Project, and Mid and Western Finger Lakes as well, and other subgroups of larger watershed efforts, we could be hearing from and supporting. And of course, these are strategic initiatives and programs. I first titled this slide Future Initiatives and Programs, but I know that districts are working in these spaces already. And in some districts, it's already become a core part of their program offering and services. But we see a real need to increase forestry management planning services for private landowners and farmers across the state. Coupled with that, afforestation and reforestation programs to continue to help, meet a multitude of environmental objectives, specifically climate mitigation and adaptation. More work to be done in invasive species management, spotted lanternfly and so many others, new species that are really going to have and already having a significant impact on the work that we do. So I'm sure we'll see those programs increasing, and we should be discussing those at committee meetings, moving forward. And climate mitigation, adaptation planning, and direct implementation. Certainly that is happening to some extent through a climate resilient farming program, but there are some discussions and recommendations coming forward on how we can make climate mitigation, adaptation planning, implementation a more direct and explicit objective through our AEM and associated programs. So I'm sure there will be discussions on that as we move forward into 2021. And with that, I just want to say thank you again, and just pause there. And if there are any thoughts on what I presented here, and certainly glad to take them here today. But also, you can reach out to me at any time if you have thoughts and ideas, concepts for good meeting topics, or key information to share across all of our agencies and programs. Please consider using the state committee as a great conduit for that. So, thanks everybody.
Hey, Brian, this is Stephanie from Department of State. I think you covered a lot of interesting stuff that would be great to cover. And you touched on a couple of the things that I had thought of bringing up, which was, the CLCPA and drinking water HABs, watersheds. I think it would be great to get report outs from the watershed groups. And I think regional reports would also be great to hear, just to hear what others are, doing across the state. But what came to mind when you were talking is one year I remember we did a meeting, I'm pretty sure it was through the state committee at Cornell, where they gave some really great presentations on new and upcoming research in climate change and other topics as well. And I'm wondering if there's opportunity throughout the year to scatter some presentations from Cornell, ESF, some of the leading research on climate change and or other new science and ag that's coming out of those shops. I think hearing what's kind of new and on the forefront in terms of research would be interesting. So I just offer that up.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Really, really great suggestion. Yes, that was a meeting we had many years back on the Cornell campus. And as Beth, you were talking about earlier, as we might still be virtual through much of the year, or even if we do end up meeting face-to-face at any point in 2021, I think that a virtual conference like that or committee meeting like that with Cornell or ESF and others really might be an effective way of doing so while limiting the amount of travel and meeting logistics that would have to take place for this. So yeah, great point. Thanks, Stephanie, for that.
I mean, I would miss the Cornell ice cream if we had it virtual, but because that was a highlight of the meeting that their shop was open for all of their dairy and ice cream products. So, but
yeah, good point there. I'll have to make a special pilgrimage to the campus for that. And actually, you bring up a good point too, because obviously this year we weren't able to get out in the field and do a field meeting and tour like we had the last few years, and certainly last year was among one of the best we've had, and we immediately kind of started to concept out and plan for the 2020 field tour. I'm hoping that you usually do that towards the end of the year in the fall, after or during harvest time. So let's hope we can do that again for a late meeting in 2021.
Brian, this is Erica. I was going to kind of build upon that a little bit and say how valuable these in person are, and just looking at the tremendous topics we could cover. Are there ways to connect those a little bit? I think ways to take some of the regional reports and see where are there strategic partnerships and those active partnerships happening within a region, couple some of those type of presentations, or seeing, really focusing in on one of the committee programs that's happening in the region. So just to cover more ground, but also to add some variety in the presentations, would just maybe suggest thinking about both regional updates and some of those kind of bigger picture pieces that are on the ground in those regions, coupling those together.
Really, really great point. Yeah, certainly connecting those topics and themes. Really great way to effectively carry out a meeting, but also hit on so many of the various aspects of our strategy all at once. Great point, Erica. Thank you.
Anything else,
Other
Brian?
thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm just pausing for other thoughts and comments.
Yep.
Sure, lots of folks are thinking about it and will provide me with their feedback.
We definitely got to come up with a way, if you're going to meet the 2050 zero emissions goal, of planting millions of trees in this state and keeping them alive. So ESF's help would go a long ways, I think.
Yeah, great point. Working with ESF through the advisory panel more, and understanding a little bit more about their mission and the forestry aspect, and certainly Steve and other advisory members focused on watersheds, watershed management. Certainly, the late Peter Black, really emphasized that, and I think as we move forward with district forestry programs and services, certainly we should also be working, Steve, with you and your colleagues at ESF on a lot of the research that's coming out, and ways that we could.
I'll talk to some folks at ESF, particularly Colin Byer, because I know they're doing ongoing work specifically related to the carbon sequestration, and I assume he's on the Climate Action Committee. Some of those meetings, but I'll reach out to Colin and talk to him about that. We can
that would be great. That would be great. Colin is working with DEC on the accounting aspect of projects, and certainly working with the broader effort. Bob Malmsheimer is Professor Malmsheimer is on the panel itself, and it's been a pleasure getting to know him virtually over the last few months as well. Thank
yeah,
you.
happy to continue that conversation. So
Wonderful. Appreciate that. Well, you all know how to reach me, and at the end of the minutes each month is my contact information. And, you know, if there are issues, topics to explore, everybody's reminded to reach out to me there. But, you know, I just wanted to kind of, you know, start the discussion here, and I've taken some good notes, and, you know, certainly be happy to receive any and all feedback as we move forward into 2021. Put an end to 2020. And here's the 2021, everybody. So thank you.
Okay.
Chad, maybe I can mention this also at the managers meeting on Thursday.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, Dale. That is all I have.
Next meeting date.
So we usually do skip January, so I have a couple of proposed dates for February, 9th or the 16th. Generally, when we do skip a month, we try to meet a little earlier the next month, but just noting that is...
Voting members, what's the 9th look like for you?
Second or Tuesday, so... I'm sorry, what was that? Say again?
The 9th would probably work better for me.
Which? Yeah.
If I'm hearing that correctly, you were suggesting the 9th would be better? As I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah, the 16th is coming off of a longer weekend, but.
Yeah.
The 9th may not work for me, but I just have to find out more about that we have scheduled that day.
Okay.
I can follow up then.
Well, why don't we, Darren and Dave, is the 16th going to be a problem for you if we have to go to the 16th instead?
I don't think so. It depends on what VA does with me. I think the 16th.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Depending on how things go, we're supposed to go on vacation that week, but who knows?
Right.
Virtual. Okay.
Well, we don't have to decide today either. I can also search for a few other dates and send you all an email, and send the voting members an email, make sure we have a quorum, and we can set the date around that in February.
And Brian, I have a meeting later today that I can ask if the 9th will work and find that out. So that might work, but I'll see if I can find out later today.
Okay. So we'll kind of pencil the 9th, and we'll also be flexible, and if we need to select another date, we can do that as well.
Yeah, because I'm really working all the time. So.
Everybody a happy Christmas, happy New Year, and
Yeah, everyone. Have a
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and have a very healthy New Year. And if there's nothing else, Brian, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Nothing else.
All right. Meeting's adjourned. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe.